So you're gifted. That's great. Good for you. Now, I don't mean that to insult your gifting. Trust me, I have so much respect and envy for gifted people. It's just that in the over 25 years in leadership, some of the most gifted people I've ever seen have become some of the greatest disasters and been the worst leaders. Why? How? How is this true when someone's so gifted? I'm Tammy Brown, Pastor Brown's wife, and together we started Sandals Church, where I'm currently leading as the Executive Director of Brand Management and Strategy, and as a side hustle, I'm an Enneagram coach. In these 11 minutes, I can't transform you from a gifted person to a great leader, so instead, I want to use this time to convince you how important it is to start thinking about this. I want to compel you towards greatness by convincing you that your gifting, it's not enough. We see this every day in the public arena. Someone so gifted, so talented, so brilliant, fall from glory, shaving their heads, going berserk, losing their minds, getting arrested, being completely derailed, and losing it all. Talented accountants are in financial ruin, amazing faith leaders with moral failures, divorce lawyers in the ugliest of divorces, gifted artists, actors, creatives having complete breakdowns and addictions. All of them arguably gifted, the best of the best in their arena, and yet disaster story after disaster story, because you guys, gifting, it's not enough. In my lifetime, both out there in the public arena and in here in real life, I've seen extraordinarily gifted people completely implode. And likewise, I've seen way less gifted people explode with success and become major leaders. I think it's safe to assume that everybody that's watching this falls into one of two categories. You're a gifted person or you're a great leader. Being one does not necessarily mean you're the other. Gifted people typically find themselves in positions of leadership because whatever they're gifted at, people want to glean from it. They like highlighting, marketing, and selling that gift, and that's the focus. While great leaders, on the other hand, might be gifted, but these people understand that gifting is not enough and focus not only on the gift, but also on developing the weakness. Everyone in the room automatically saying, well, I fall into the great category. I see you guys, I see you, everyone thinks they're great. But however you identify, I believe I know a way to help the most gifted person be a great leader, and great leaders become more gifted. How? The Enneagram. The Enneagram is a tool. It's a personality type assessment, but unlike other assessments that tell you how you do the things that you do, the Enneagram tells you why you do the things that you do. And like any tool, when used properly, it achieves the task. And when used improperly, can cause damage. If I have a hammer and I hit a nail on the head in the wall, success. But if I just start hitting the wall, fail. I'm causing holes in drywall, no good. Or if I'm using a steak knife to cut a steak, using that tool right. But if I cut a person, I'm causing a wound. This principle is also true of our giftings. Our gifts are a tool. They're the things that we bring to the world to make it a better place. However, when we use them improperly, we can cause damage to ourselves and to others. Our gifts are what make us shine, and like anything that shines, a shadow will be lying nearby. The Enneagram helps us to not only understand the places that we shine, but to look at the shadows we cast as well. It helps us articulate our inner workings, the things we know are true about us, and the things that we bring to the world, the way we operate, and it also lets us know the things we avoid, the things we're afraid of, what we're seeking after, and what we value most. Gifted people focus on what shines in the light. Great leaders know what's left untended in the dark will diminish everything seen in the light. The Enneagram is a flashlight to illuminate those things that are lurking in our shadows, the things that are the potential enemies to our giftings. Here's the mistake that I've seen gifted people make. They think their shadows either don't exist or don't or won't matter. Both lines of thinking are flawed. They forget to remember that the things about themselves that will potentially derail them are the enemies to their gift. Here's a practice I've seen great leaders do. They accept both their strengths, their gifting, and their weaknesses, and they're committed to developing both. They remember those things which might derail them and guard themselves from it. Gifted people only focus on what shines about them, and likewise, they assume that's what other people focus on as well. But great leaders are real about the shadows and understand that this is how the people that they're leading will experience them. From my perspective, the Enneagram has been by far the most accurate tool to help people understand their unique giftings and the shadows that accompany them. They know where to look for the things that might potentially derail them. The Enneagram helps us understand our center of intelligence, where our primary lines of thinking happen. Is it our heart? Do we process through our feelings? Is it our mind? Do we process through our thinking? Or is it our gut? Do we just process through our instincts? Understanding this about ourselves is a game changer, taking us from gifted to great. It recognizes that there are 9 different ways people are most motivated. Are you motivated by getting it right, the perfectionist, helping others, the helper, image and success, the achiever, being unique, the individualist, competency and knowledge, the observer, security and truth, the loyalist, fun and experiences, the enthusiast, leading and protecting, the challenger, or peace and harmony, the peacemaker? Chances are you've resonated with one or more things from this list. These motivations are the things that are at the root of our giftings. But like I said, with anything that shines, a shadow is cast nearby. And it means in some way, shape, or form, someone is following us. And therefore, it is both how we are motivated and how we are experienced by others that matters. Because if no one is following us, then we aren't leading. Those things lurking in our shadows, those are the things that the people who follow us will experience. The potential things that will repel them despite how gifted we might be. Gifted people look only at where they are going, but great leaders remember to look back and recognize those who are following them. So let's look at how people might experience you and the shadow side of you as their leader. The perfectionist who wants it done right, anger lies in the shadow. They get angry when things go wrong, and they blow up internally and externally and fail to inspire others, knowing that there's no margin for error. We forget to remember to have grace for ourselves and others. The helper, who's always doing for others, casts a nearby shadow where pride lies as they keep score of all of the things they've done. They think they know best for people, and helping becomes a means of control. We forget to remember ourselves, assuming that others will know our needs the way we knew theirs, and bitterness and resentment destroy our relationships and repel the help. The achiever who wants to win, to achieve success, and image is everything, cuts corners to get there, and lying is constantly in the shadows. Sometimes this looks like embellishing and or exaggerating the truth, or it might look like leaving parts out to maintain that image. They can spend too much time on how they look that they underdevelop who they are. We forget to remember that integrity matters most when lost, no one wants to follow us because we can't be trusted. The individualist who's motivated by being unique and creating beauty has envy waiting in the shadow. They only see the uniqueness and beauty of others. They are emotionally driven and rely on their feelings over the facts. We forget to remember to be grateful for the uniqueness of who we are and the beauty that we bring to the world. The observer, who's motivated by knowledge and competency, greed lies in the shadow. They're consumed with potential incompetency and or scarcity that they can hoard for themselves, their time, their relationships, or their knowledge, just in case something happens. And we forget to remember and to balance needing information with connecting with people. And this next one is me, the loyalist, who wants things stable, safe, and secure, and rely heavily on truth and questioning to achieve that. We get completely lost in the shadow of fear by only thinking about potential risk and everything that can go wrong. They assume the worst of situations and people, and we forget to remember to not be scared, but to be prepared and to consider everything that might go right. When I'm healthy and I feel safe and secure, I'm strategic. I think through everything that might go wrong and I make a plan. I'm a good question asker and prepared for whatever might happen. I'm a gifted leader in strategy and planning. But when I forget to remember that fear is what will derail me, I assume the worst of situations and people, I'm overcome with anxiety, I'm paralyzed, and I withdraw from life because at any moment we're all gonna die. I can only see what can go wrong, and I repel people by my negative, critical spirit, doomsday, Debbie Downer attitude, and I miss out on life, experiences, and people. And then there's the enthusiast who is motivated by experiencing life to the fullest. Gluttony lies in your shadow. The enemy of joy is pain, so they avoid it at all costs and potentially in harmful ways. We forget to remember that the pursuit of pleasure to avoid pain will ultimately cause us more pain in the end when we've exchanged what mattered most for what felt most fun in the moment. The challengers, who are motivated by leading and protecting, have lust, which is the insatiable desire for more or what's not yours, lurking in the shadows. They can become so driven and goal-oriented that they become arrogant and oblivious to how they treat people, becoming bullies to gain territory. We forget to remember that people are vulnerable and not a means to an end. And then there's the peacemakers, who are motivated by keeping the peace. Laziness is lurking in the shadows for you. They're afraid of making a move or a decision that might compromise peace, causing them to not do anything at all. They were deferred to the wants and needs of others to avoid conflict. We forget to remember that this actually creates conflict of another kind inside ourselves that comes out sideways onto others, non-verbally in stubbornness and lack of reliability. All of these shadows left untended are ultimately detrimental to any areas of us that shine. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today, it's this. When we're not real about what's happening in the dark, we put at risk anything we're gifted at in the light. To become a great leader and not just a gifted person, you need to be real with the shadow side of who you are and invest as much time developing that as you do displaying your gifts. Your giftings will only take you so far. If you repel anyone and everyone from following you, then you're not leading. Every great leader was once a gifted person who tended to what lurked in the dark. So you're gifted. Great. Gifted people leave gifts, but great leaders leave legacy. Legacy because they lasted and left not only the gift, but an example for others to follow of how to steward the gift and develop the weakness. So I'm curious then, which is the actual gift to be left? So my question for you, do you want to be a gifted person or do you want to be a great leader?